TikTok is one of the fastest growing and most downloaded social media companies of all time, but all of their success is about to change. For the folks living under a rock that have never heard of TikTok, they host short-form, user-generated videos, typically under a minute long, that includes genres like pranks, jokes, pet videos, fitness, sultry dance moves, skincare, and life hacks. This viral content has propelled TikTok to become the #1 social media app downloaded in 2021, and so far in 2022. In 2021, TikTok was downloaded over 656 million times. So while Facebook or Meta platform still has 3 of the top 5 spots with Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, TikTok is now the king of social media. Facebook was once the hot app, as it was exclusive for college students. Its founding story was even turned into a movie. But now, with nearly 3 billion users on Facebook, that sense of cool and exclusive is gone. And now the younger generations that don't want to see their granny on their Facebook social media feed, they now turn to TikTok. Not only is TikTok the most downloaded app, but it's also the most addictive. Users spent 28.7 hours per month so far in 2022. This is up from 23 hours per month in 2021 and far surpasses Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat usage. TikTok's business model is also similar to other social media platforms. It's free to use, but all your data is fair game for advertising leads. This has attracted major brands like Chipotle, Guess, NBA, and Red Bull to heavily market on TikTok. By some estimates, TikTok is expected to generate even more revenue than both Snapchat and Twitter this year and is on pace to surpass YouTube by 2024. TikTok is rapidly building a massive social media empire with millions of influencers, billion-dollar brands, over 1 billion addicted users, and forecasts of generating tens of billions of dollars in revenue over time. Despite this, I think there's a very real chance that TikTok gets shut down in the days or months to come. Why? First, let's rewind and understand a little of TikTok's background. Unlike Facebook, Snapchat, or Twitter, TikTok is not an American company. TikTok is a subsidiary of ByteDance, which is a Chinese company. Keep in mind, ByteDance is no ordinary business. It is arguably one of the most valuable private startups in the world. Their global operations are estimated to generate $58 billion in revenue in 2021, growing at 70%, with an employee base of over 110,000 people. ByteDance has a very similar app to TikTok called Douyin, which is exclusive to mainland China. While you can think of TikTok as the international version of Douyin, the reality is that there are some subtle differences. For example, Douyin has a slightly older user base, might have more official branded posts, and has more advanced features, particularly around e-commerce and live streaming. Now, why does TikTok being owned by a Chinese company create potential problems? First, if you're enjoying this video, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Second, social media platforms are extremely special businesses, not only because they aggregate hundreds of millions and potentially billions of viewers, but because they're often trusted as a source of information. This makes them influential, and there's legitimate concerns that those who control the platform can influence all sorts of real-world behaviors and outcomes. What might start off as a fun prank or challenge might ultimately impact elections, conspiracy theory propagation, and even social unrest. For example, could TikTok's algorithm start encouraging videos that are favorable to pro-China positions and politicians? What about encouraging videos that increase social strife? Last month, Brendan Carr, a commissioner from the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, tweeted how TikTok is not just another video app. That's the sheep's clothing. It harvests swaths of sensitive data that new reports show are being accessed in Beijing. These news reports include recent articles confirming that China-based employees can indeed access U.S. user data. While US-based social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter struggle with concepts around censorship and directing the social narrative, in China, there's the Chinese Communist Party, and that's largely the only narrative. Openly questioning their decisions or policies in public or online in China can easily make you disappear. So what is the US-based FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr proposing? He's proposing that Google and Apple delete TikTok from their respective app stores. It's worth understanding the nuances here. This doesn't mean that TikTok will be forced to shut down overnight. That said, removing them from the app stores will crush their future outlook. This would mean that new users would have difficulty downloading new updates or even downloading the TikTok app onto their phone. However, existing users would likely still be able to access the app. The US isn't the first country to consider shutting down TikTok over concerns that it's actually a surveillance tool by the Chinese Communist Party. In January 2021, India permanently banned TikTok and 58 other Chinese apps over concerns that these apps could be deemed harmful to the sovereignty and integrity of India. This also isn't the first time the US has considered banning TikTok. Former President Donald Trump issued an executive order in July 2020 for ByteDance to either divest ownership of TikTok or get banned. While there were negotiations with both Microsoft and Oracle to acquire TikTok's business, due to both legal injunctions and wavering political desire, neither a ban nor sale came to pass as long as TikTok continued to affirm that it would not give user data to the Chinese government. This all changes, in my opinion, with the recent article suggesting that Chinese users can still access global user data. I think the odds of a bipartisan US response to TikTok and a potential ban is much higher now. Excluding security concerns, which I believe are very real in my opinion, I think a ban is also a very fair move as well. For example, US social media apps like Facebook are not even allowed in China. This is despite Zuckerberg's past attempts to work with the Chinese government to allow access. For example, there's a picture from a prior trip in 2016 where Zuckerberg is seen jogging around Beijing despite incredibly thick smog. Ew. So purely from an angle of fairness, if China won't allow US-based social media apps in their country, why should the US allow Chinese-based social media apps? Now, who benefits from TikTok getting banned? Clearly, Facebook or Meta platforms could be a big beneficiary. After all, in February 2022, Mark Zuckerberg called out how increasing competition had hurt Meta's results as apps like TikTok are growing very quickly. In response, Meta launched their TikTok clone product called Instagram Reels, and Facebook has reportedly hired dozens of different lobbyists to portray TikTok as a threat to American children. While Zuckerberg can come across as awkward and out of sync with basic human behavior, the reality is that these actions reflect that he's a ruthless, street-fighting CEO. Shareholders should be happy to have him working for you effectively for free. Free? Really? In the past 3 years, Zuckerberg's total salary was $1 per year. Now keep in mind, this excludes millions of dollars that Meta paid for Zuckerberg's personal security and private aircraft, which can be viewed as a cost of doing business. In full disclosure, at the time of this video publication, I own stock in Meta Platforms, or META stock, Meta stock. So how much could Meta Platforms benefit from TikTok shutting down? Potentially a lot. TikTok is forecasted to generate nearly $12 billion in revenue this year and up to $24 billion by 2024. Even if TikTok app is not shut down, but just excluded from the app stores, this could be enough to scare away a lot of advertising dollars. After all, if you're a major brand like Nike, why would you spend money on a platform that might get discontinued with the additional risk of being considered unpatriotic? If Meta is able to capture a material portion of TikTok's business, how will this potentially impact Meta stock? First, their usage and revenue could increase. This could accelerate their revenue and profit growth, and then faster growth drives higher valuations and a greater stock price. All in, I estimate that crushing TikTok could potentially create hundreds of billions of dollars in value to Meta shareholders over time. Even ignoring the prospect of winning TikTok's business, Meta currently trades at 10 times 2021 core earnings based on their family of apps, while giving zero credit to their recent $10 billion annual investments in virtual reality. While I own Meta stock because I think it's cheap on an absolute basis, if they're able to take TikTok's lunch, that could be another way to win as well. What are your thoughts on TikTok? Is it just a harmless social media app, or do you think the Chinese Communist Party will weaponize user data against various sovereign nations? Do you think TikTok should be banned? For more thoughts on unrivaled investments and compelling stock ideas, check out unrivaledinvesting.com. Thank you for watching Unrivaled Investing.